Makeup by Mario released a new palette. It's the MasterMatte's The Neutrals. We're going to be doing swatches, we're going to be doing comparisons and a look, so hang tight, getting into it right now. If you're new here, welcome. Hi, I'm Rhoda. I'm really excited about this palette. There's something about the tones in these shadows that really draws me in. I don't mind an all matte palette personally. I don't always wear shimmer. I love an all matte look sometimes. It's beautiful. Here is a closer look at this beautiful palette. I feel like this could be a great staple palette to have, especially as a complement to Mario's other MasterMatte's palette, which offers warmer options. Let's do a quick side-by-side of both of Mario's MasterMatte's palettes. So here is the original palette, much warmer, as I mentioned. The new palette is quite neutral, except for that gray that you see in the bottom row. It looks like it's a top row because I have these flipped over. But in the bottom row, there's that gray shade next to that black. That one is really the only cool toned shade in there. And I think having this in the palette almost makes it look like the entire palette is cool tone. But I don't think that's the case. Taking a look at these, they really are quite neutral. And honestly, I don't really see any shades that are the same in each of these palettes. They all have very different undertones. I'm in the middle of filming another video. I have the Charlotte Tilbury color corrector up against the Natasha Denona color corrector. Can you tell which one is under which eye? I'll let you guess. You're going to have to go and see that other video to see what happens at the end. I'm going to be doing some wear tests throughout the day, but right now I only have my base on, some eyebrows, my under eye color corrector, and concealer. So I'm going to add some bronzer, just add some warmth back into my face, and I'll be right back for some swatches and an eye look. I'm going to swatch row by row. This is the lightest row, then a medium, and then this is the darkest row. These are numbered, so they don't have any names. That's number 1, that's number 2, number 3, and number 4. I feel like this second shade that pretty much disappears on me would be a beautiful shade to use to kind of blend the edges out, soften edges out. So I love that. Okay, let's move on to the second row. 4, 5, 6, and 7. These are very soft, very easy to pick up, and are swatching beautifully. I love number 7. It's got like a pink to it. And here's 9, 10, 11, and 12, a nice black. It almost has a little bit of navy in it, I would say. Definitely. So those are all of the shades swatched. Gorge. And you know, as I was swatching, I noticed that the vertical rows would be beautiful together. One might say that some shades are redundant, but they're not. They all have their own unique undertone and offer something different. But if you were to look at this and say, well, I don't even know which one of these would I pick, just stick with like a row. Start there, see what happens. So I really like that. Am I the only one who sees that? I don't know. That's where my eye is going. Like these 3, like if you look at them just on their own, perfect. Anyway, let's get a look on. I don't know what to pick. They're all so gorgeous. And I can only do one look today because I'm doing that wear test for the color corrector. So I guess I didn't really think this through very well, did I? You know, I'll probably just do another video doing different looks with this palette just to show you how versatile it is, or isn't. I don't know. I don't know. So we'll see. So today we'll do one look And then I'll do a follow-up video doing a few more. Cool? Okay. Okay, I've made up my mind. I'm going to take my refer number 15 and I am going to dip into MN3. Third one in the top row. There is a fair bit of kick up, so I'm just going to dab it onto my makeup eraser. I just use these little guys and just to dab on. They're really handy, really handy. And I will begin with this MN3 shade as a transition shade, all in my crease and above my crease. So these are going on very, very easily. And apparently these are creamier than the original MasterMattes. Those are a little bit drier and you have to build them up a little bit. It is true, but I don't mind that. I don't mind it at all. So there is a difference I'm feeling and seeing right now in these formulas, but not a huge difference. I have no trouble with that other palette, which is a staple for me. And I even had it in my 2023 best of makeup. I think it's a beautiful staple to have, but let's see if we have a second one here. I'm just gonna build this up a little bit more. Okay, I'm also getting a little in the outer corner as well. Now I'm going to take my Refer 01. I really, really want to use this gray shade in here. It's calling to me. It's got a little bit of a purple undertone. Just stamp it on here, the outer corner. Place it where you would like it, and then work it along the crease. There is a lot of pigment here, so you do not need a lot, but it's blending out beautifully. Now, I am going to look up a little bit because where my eyes are deep set right here, sometimes I can have an issue getting pigment to stay in that socket area right there. So I just lift my head and just make sure that there is pigment in there. It happens to me a lot, especially when I'm using a little bit of a darker shade. So if you do have this situation happening, that's how you can fix it. Or work with it. Can't fix it really. I only tapped in there so lightly, and look at all this pigment that I have to work with here. So just note to self. Now I'm going to flip the brush over and just diffuse the edge here just a little bit. Easy to blend out, beautiful. Moving on. So that gray shade is MN11, the only gray shade in there. Now I'm going to go to the one above it, MN7. It's this beautiful, it's got like a pink undertone to it. It's so gorgeous. I love it. It's the one that stands out to me the most. And I'm just going, yeah, it's mauvey, almost mauvey, although it doesn't look like it, but on me, I'm seeing that come through, and it pairs so nicely with that gray because it has a nice purple undertone. I am just placing that shade, which is going on much darker than you would think. On me, I am just placing that all over the lid. And I've gone over the gray a little bit, so I'm just going to bring it back over and melt those two back together so we have a nice seamless transition from one shade to the next. Now I'm going to take the other side of that Refer 02 brush that I was using for my lid, and I'm going to go into this MN1 shade right here just to brighten that inner corner and brighten up right in here. This one seems to be the chalkiest of them. That's the only way I can describe it. It's more dusty and not as creamy and a little bit maybe too light for me. You know what? I'm going to go next door to MN2 and see maybe that's a better tone for me and go over that. Tone that down because it's a little bit too white for my liking. So now again, I'm going to go back, flip over, pick up a little bit more of this shade right here and go over that because it was a little bit too light and I want to overlap them just a little bit. Okay, I really like that. I am noticing some areas right here that are not very smooth. It's kind of clinging a little bit to my wrinkly area right here. So I'm going to just quickly smooth it over. I'm going to take a small little brush, any little brush. I don't even know which one this is. I just grabbed one and I'm just trying to get into just this specific area right here just to smooth that out. And that did the trick. So if you ever find yourself in that situation, just focus on that area, smooth it out. I may have applied a little bit too much of the shadow there, and that's a very delicate area in which, you know, some pigment can bunch up into, on my eyes at least. I want to add some liner, but I'm going to use the darkest shade in here as our liner. I'm going to take my Nikki N11 angled brush. I love this brush. It's tapping off a little bit. I want to be super careful. Going to line our lashes, flip it over so that the pointy end is on the outside so that we don't get a splotch at the end here. As close to the lash line as possible. I don't want a thick line. I just want to define it. Makes the eyes pop. And this darkest shade in here is a black, but I am seeing a little bit of a navy undertone in there. Stupendous. Do I do a little wing? Yep. Just a little one. Baby wing. Don't mess this up, Rhoda. Don't mess it up. Holding my breath. Why do I hold my breath every time I do a wing? You know why? Because it makes or breaks. Right? Am I right? Okay, I'm going to take a refer number 3, a little pencil brush here. This one right here. I'm going to go in there. Boop. Just a little bit of a shadow. Nothing crazy. I don't want to bring the gray under here. I just want to leave that on top, and the purpose of adding this to the lower lash line is just to define a little bit, bring a little bit of a shadow so that your eye can pop. That's the only thing I'm trying to do here. I think I like it. I think I really like it. Okay, I'm going to do the same, hopefully, on this eye. Some mascara, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I wanted to do one last quick comparison of this palette to the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 matte palette. This palette right here. So in this palette, you have a row of warm shades and a row of cool shades, and I see a few similarities in here, so I just wanted to quickly compare with this Makeup by Mario MasterMatte's Neutrals palette. Just want to show you them side by side. I'm gonna pick a few that are in here that I think are similar in the Mario, and I will swatch them on my arm and show you the differences, or the similarities, I should say. This row is the MasterMatte's 1, 2, 6, 10, and 12 compared to the Patrick Ta. They are quite similar, except for this one. It's a little bit deeper, and the black shade is a lot more intense in the Mario than it is in the Patrick Ta. But again, a lot of similarities there. So if you do have the Patrick Ta palette, you have a lot of the shades that are in the Mario palette. But in the Mario palette, you do have this added gray shade, which I have used today and I love it. However, if you have the Patrick Ta and you're looking for some neutral shades to work with, and the gray doesn't strike your fancy or is anything that you think you would use, then I think you're good with the Patrick Ta. So what are my final thoughts on this new Mario palette? I think it's a beautiful palette that performs very, very well. If you're missing these shades from your collection, or you love an all matte look, or a reliable neutral palette that you can reach for to pair with your shimmers, then this is the palette for you because it does perform beautifully. The formula in here is wonderful. You get performance and quality in this palette. And if you pair it with the original Mario MasterMatte's palette, you have every shade under the sun to create any kind of look that you want. It's a great size, it's easy to travel with, just a great little neutral palette to have in your collection that you will always reach for. I love the look that I created with this today. I can't wait to play around and see what other looks I can get out of this little guy. But all in all, I do love this palette. I think it's great. And that's a wrap on the new Mario MasterMatte's The Neutrals palette. I hope you found that helpful. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Please do consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. That would be amazing. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.